We just got back from Hawaii on Wednesday. We went out to the East
Centers for Spiritual Living.
East Hawaii with Reverend Beverly Strutt.
We love you, Beverly.
Yeah, Rev Bev.
Miss you.
And so we just wanted to give a little shout out, and we're going to do a little Hawaiian song for our feature song today, but it was awesome. So this morning, we'd like to start us off with the song called This Is the Day, and if you could all rise and join with us in singing the song, bring the spirit up for Reverend Karen. She's got her outfit on today, so. You ready?
I'm ready. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Sing that with me. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day, a day to be seized, yeah. A day I can feel my spirit set free. Yes, this is the day. It's time to fly higher and high up in the sky. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day all my dreams come true. Can feel the Spirit working its way through. Yes, this is the day. It's time to fly higher and high up in the sky. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Woo!
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Halloween. Yeah. We love Halloween here. So happy to see so many people dressed up out there. You all look amazing and spooky and beautiful, and I just love it. It's my favorite. So I am Juliana Smith. I am the board president here, and I would just like to welcome you to our center, and those of you online who are watching, we are very pleased to have you here today. It's going to be a really wonderful day. So I want to start off with a few announcements. We've got our Gourmets for God just ended, and so today is the day to pay. So make sure that you come see me in the bookstore. You have this week and next week to get your payments in for your events. So see me in the bookstore, and we'll take care of your payment, and then you can have some fellowship in Papke Hall afterwards, and it'll be wonderful. Also today, after service, we're having our sound healing meditation with Kay Fontana. So she'll be up here with her singing bowls and chimes and beautiful ocean drums and really fun stuff. And so it's going to be a really wonderful, amazing, transformational, meditative time. It's going to be a beautiful thing. Also, Kay is doing a ceremony of remembrance, and I want her to come up and go ahead and give a little speech about that.
Good morning. So on Sunday, December 1st, after service, I'm going to be doing a ceremony of remembrance. And what this is that if any of you have lost a loved one that you would like to honor that day, I am asking that you send me a picture and some information about your loved one, because I'm going to do a video presentation of all of those that I receive. And I really encourage you to do that because it's a real healing process for people, regardless of when your loved one passed. If it was, a year, 2 years, 5, 10, 15, 20, it doesn't matter. It's somebody that you want to honor, then I encourage you to send me that information. There are forms out in the at Home's Base out there, and if you can either email me the picture or give me one in person, I'll make sure that you get it back. I just want to scan it and then I'll give it back. But I will need those by, what date do I have on there? Thursday, November 21st. Okay, because that'll give me time to put the video together. So thank you.
All right, and it looks like we have our Projects of Love team here. And we would like to, they have an announcement for us about the Projects of Love, the most recent one. So come on up.
Good morning. Good morning. Sorry, my skull fell out. Do we have a video? We do. Okay, let's roll that first.
We'll get back. There we go.
Hi. I don't know about you guys, but until 3 years ago, I didn't even know we had a burn center, let alone like the best burn center in the United States here in Phoenix. But as you can see, that was my sister in those pictures. And they serve you from the minute you get there and you have lots of questions and you don't even know what to ask. They're there to help the Burn Foundation. And they walk you through the recovery process, and they're there on the other side with camps, children's programs, and alarm walks where they help communities that might be at risk, making sure they have batteries and alarms in their homes. And so we are donating the funds to them this quarter. And Gloria missed out, and she's going to be upset about that. Thank you.
All right. So our Projects of Love team, they obviously find very worthy foundations and causes to donate to every quarter, so often. And so it's really wonderful to be able to do that and give back to our community in that way. And it's a very good project that they found this month. So we appreciate that. So what I'd like to do now, we're going to go ahead and read our vision statement together. We are a loving, joy-filled community, honoring the many paths to God as we learn and live the science of mind principles. And so it is. And so we'll sit back in our seats, we'll relax, we'll get centered for the Bradford's meditation music, Reverend Karen's message, and we just want you to be very comfortable and welcome home.
take a deep breath, relax as we move within.
I will make a quiet place within my heart. I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord.
Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know.
I will make a quiet place within my mind. I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord.
Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know. I will make a quiet place within my life, and I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord. I will make a quiet place.
In the stillness of this moment, there is one presence, one life, one God, one sweet spirit. The ever-present, ever-available presence of God is right here, right now. That God that is the essence of all good, love, peace, joy, harmony. It is all God. And what I know of God, I know of myself, and I know of each one of us here today, and those watching online, and those who are not with us today. We are all the essence of that one sweet spirit. And what I know is that God is everywhere. God is in this place, right here, right now, expressing as all that good. And knowing this, I recognize that I give a word of blessing for everyone here and all of those online, everyone that is helping today with this service. And for the Bradfords, knowing that their beautiful music, that harmony that just touches our heart and soul, is absolutely perfect and exactly what we need to hear. And for Reverend Karen, knowing that her message is absolutely perfect, that she speaks from the words of God, the essence of God expressing in her as and through her during this service, and that her words touch our heart and souls. And for all of those from other faith traditions, knowing that there are many paths to the one God. And I'm so grateful for this day, and I release my words into the law, knowing that it is already done, and it is already so. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. My reading today is from Out of Your Mind by Alan Watts. And the subtitle is Tricksters, Interdependence, and the Cosmic Game of Hide and Seek. We have been educated to use our minds in a narrow way. We have been taught to ignore that every one of us is an aperture through which the whole cosmos experiences life. Every one of us is a hole from which the fundamental light, existence itself, looks out, but we're playing the game of forgetting this fact. And we pretend to only be this little hole, this little thing we called me, or the ego. But if we can maintain a sense of being me, while at the same time understanding we are the whole works, then that's a very marvelous and agreeable arrangement. If you can carry these two perspectives at once, you will experience a most remarkable harmoniousness. It will bring your life a greater sense of joy and exuberance because you know that all the serious predicaments of life are a game. You could also see your problems and challenges as manifestations of nature, like patterns in waves or waves in the ocean or shells upon the beach. Have you really looked at a seashell? There's not an aesthetic fault in it anywhere. It's absolutely perfect. Now, do you think that shells look at each other and critique each other's appearance? Well, your markings are a little crooked and not very well spaced. Of course not, but that's what we do. Every one of us is marvelous and complicated and interesting and gorgeous, just as we are. Really take a look into another person's eyes. They are jewelry beyond compare, just beautiful. So take those words into contemplation. And so it is.
I just want to sing this song for Reverend Beverly and thank her for hosting us in her beautiful home, Hawaii.
Thank you, Rev Bev.
Night and you and blue Hawaii. The night is heavenly, and you are heaven to me.
Lovely you and blue Hawaii, with all the loveliness, there should be love.
Come with me while the moon is on the sea. The night is young, and so are we. Dreams come true in blue Hawaii, and mine could all come true this magic night of nights with you. Come with me while the moon is on the sea. The night is young, and so are we, so are we. Dreams come true in blue Hawaii, and mine could all come true this magic night of nights with you.
Exquisite. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me get set up here. Are you okay down there, honey? one of his favorite songs. Did you know that? You just did one of his favorite songs. That was an Elvis Presley song. I'm just saying, Rod, did you know you just took on Elvis? Good morning. Happy Halloween. Arg. So much to be happening today. So many great costumes out there. Thank you for dressing up, for those of you who did, and for those of you who just showed up. Thank you for being here. And for those of you who are visiting for the first time, we don't do this every week. It's a rare thing. It's a little tricky. I'm not sure me and the parrot are going to make it all the way through. I'm not even certain about the hat, but you know, if you take the hat off, then you gotta. It's good. Well, take a picture, because honestly, I'm not sure it's going to last very long. The only threat is that hat head, is that how you say it? Could be worse than the hat. So sometimes you're married to it. So good morning. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday morning before Halloween. It is my favorite Sunday of the year because I like to dress up. I like to have fun. I like to lighten up and let my hair down and do kooky things because I got a little kooky girl. I got a little rebel inside me, but I'm also that girl who all her life tried to be really good. I take life kind of serious, you know, and I want to get good grades, and I don't like to play, you know, color outside of the lines too much. I got a little bit of that black and white stuff that makes me want to be the good girl until we bought our first Harley Davidson. Then I found out I was really bad to the bone. And it works really well. It's just one way, you know, you put on a little costume and it helps you not be inappropriate at times where you'd like to be a little more appropriate. So today I have a costume so I can be funny and let my hair go wherever it wants to go, and hopefully my parrot will behave himself. And we're going to have a little talk about Halloween, and the title of my message is such a good title, Slaying Monsters. We're talking about slaying monsters today, and I found this fabulous quote from Dr. Ernest Holmes in the book, Can We Talk to God? The answer is yes. I'll just, in case you don't know, yes. Yes, you should talk to God a lot, especially in the next few weeks. We probably all want to be talking to God a lot and trying to find our center of balance in our own living. But these are the words from Dr. Holmes where I stole the title for the talk. This is what he said. If we are submerged in doubt and fear, uncertainty and dread, then we must first slay these monsters so that we might regain confidence and peace of mind. I love that quote because he's talking about slaying monsters, and the monsters he is directly naming are, parrot's gonna have to go, I can tell. Let's take a vote. Parrot on, raise your hand if I should keep the parrot on. Raise your hand. Oh, never mind. You better behave. You know, and then, you know, from good girl to bad to the bone, and then Cyndi Lauper. God loves Cyndi Lauper. Girls just want to have fun. You know, it takes me full circle. Like, we just want to have fun. Some of us who are a little too straight-laced want to let our hair down. But Holmes called those things doubt and uncertainty and fear, even dread. He calls those things the monsters that we are then invited to slay. Because when we slay the monsters, when we pay attention to the kind of thoughts that are moving around in our very own minds, really good reading, by the way, what we will find is that we can regain our peace and our confidence in life. And who doesn't want to feel a little more peaceful and be a little more confident in the way that we move through each and every day? Monster, I looked at different definitions for the word monster, and this is my favorite one and the one I'm referencing throughout my talk this morning. A monster is an imaginary creature that is typically large and ugly and frightening, strange or horrible. Arg. And it makes me think of the sort of the fairy tales most of us are familiar with. There was always this handsome, charming prince. Sometimes he's called Prince Charming. And he is there to slay the dragon and hopefully win the hand of the princess and please the king so that he can be a part of this royalty. And what we know is that life is more than a fairy tale. Although my favorite dragon is in the movie Shrek. Oh, I love that dragon. And then Donkey falls in love with the dragon. I think the dragon got sweet on Donkey first. And they found out that they were really compatible. I'm sure they got married. I know they weren't just living together. They must have been married. And then they have a whole bunch of little babies. And then it gets really interesting because all the little baby donkeys are flying around. They all have wings. They're just little baby donkeys with the wings. And then fire comes out their nostrils when they're being mischievous. That's my favorite dragon. Do you have a favorite dragon? So the idea of slaying dragons is really a metaphor that we use in psychology. We use it in spirituality. And we're really talking about the way we look at our shadow side, the way that we we use some kind of spiritual strength to face our difficulties, the way that we face or deal with or address in some way, in some healthy way, hopefully, the conflict between the dark and the light that we carry inside of us. Sort of like, me trying to be good with all this time. All those years I had a biker girl inside of me that just wanted to dress in leather and use naughty language. But I didn't let her out much. So, but once I let her out, then I qualified to be a minister. They let me in seminary. I did my shadow work really well. So in the field of psychology, they use that idea of slaying the dragons as a reference to the way that we deal with those internal sort of oppositional forces, the good and the bad, the dark and the light, the pretty and the ugly, and the biker and the studious student and all those things. And I love Halloween I love seeing it as this playful opportunity where we can just kind of ride that wave of looking at the dark side, picking out a costume. I mean, isn't it great? You can be anything or anyone you want to meet. Before I put on my hat and my parrot, everybody thought I was just a witch, which I thought was really interesting. I'm not sure there's much difference between a witch and a pirate. They all go, they snarl, right? But we can be whatever we want. So when you're a little kid and your mom goes, what do you want to be for Halloween? It's like the imagination can just run wild. And we were always resourceful in how we would create costumes. We didn't go buy costumes, but I'll tell you something now. As soon as they open that Halloween shop, I'm one of the first ones there to check things out. And I like to even go back just before, like the day before Halloween. Tomorrow might be a really good day. And then they have everything marked down 70%, and then you shop for next year. You see what you want for next year. I love the Halloween store because I always wanted to be the cool kid when I was little. I was never the cool kid. And maybe the cool kids want to be the brainy kids. They want to be the nerds. But you can choose to be a villain or a hero, and you get in a costume, and then the strange custom that your parents let you go to knock on strange doors and get candy. It's like a counter to everything we teach nowadays, but and preach. But it's a fun time of just playing. And you know what else is really fun about Halloween? You can choose your superpowers. Don't you want superpowers? One time Juliana, as the board president, starts every meeting. Just keep doing what you're doing. I know it's important. She doesn't even hear me. She just gave me a thumbs up. Juliana is the board president, starts out every board meeting. We have a 2-minute check-in period, but she asks everybody a question, and you have to answer the question. So last month, we just had, was it last Sunday, I think, we had a board meeting, and the question was, if you could choose any fictional family that you wish you could have grown up in, what fictional family would it have been? And so it's a fun conversation starter. But a while back, many months ago, Julie asked us all, if you could have one superpower, what would your superpower be? So think about it. If you could have one superpower, what would you choose to have your superpower be? And if you're listening at home, you can, well, maybe I shouldn't engage Julie at another level. She's shaking her head. It's okay. I think that was an okay. So if you're at home, you can type in the chat place and you can answer. Just give us a 1 or 2 sentence. What would your words, not a sentence. What would your superpower be? If you're here in the room, raise your hand if you know what your superpower is, and I'll call on you. Over here, Sarah. She would like to fly. Oh, I would love to fly too. And invisibility, yes. I saw a hand right here. A healer. That's probably, I'm going to guess that's already your superpower. Felicia. A goddess. Ooh, all kinds of, yes, we could do all kinds of fun things. Did we get any online? Okay, gentleman behind Julie. Oh, he wants to be the teller of times, the one that would tell people how much time they have left. I don't want to know. Stay far away. Arrgh. I got some one-legged friends, so be careful. Right here, what is your... To read minds. See, that's right up there with that one. It's like, ooh, I don't know. I don't know if that would help me or harm me to know. I already make stuff up, you know, what I think you're thinking. Oh, my goodness. So do you have anything, Julie? All right. So, yes, we would like superpowers, and those are, it seems similar to the ones that came up at that particular board meeting. Julie, can you think of any other ones that were good? Somebody said invisibility. Yes, I think that was our favorite, and that was yours. I believe that was yours. Why? And you know, we know why, because then you could just slither in and out and around, and all of that could be possibly fun. Again, not sure. Oh, healer! We got another healer online, and I'm going to say to that healer, I bet you are already a healer too. I bet you already own that superpower to be able to speak it. You probably have it. So what I want to say is that you really do have a whole bunch of superpowers that I know you already use. One of your superpowers is that you know how to turn a frown into a smile. You know, because we've all lived a while, you know how to turn a loss into a new beginning. You might not like it at first, but we know how to do that. We know how to take a challenge or some adversity and take that information and use it so that we can look at life from a higher perspective because now we have more information. You have used all of these superpowers already in your life, and there are so many more. There are infinite, uncountable superpowers that each of us can use in our own lives and with each other. I want to give you a really great example of something that happened to someone in our community. Someone told me this story in the last 7 to 10 days. A woman, a beloved friend, had spent some time in the hospital. And she told us that she decided to use her imagination and just pretend while she was in the hospital. We can all use this advice. She pretended she was staying at a 5-star resort, and that everybody that walked through her door, that came into her room, was there to take care of her. And they did a really good job. And she said, it was so amazing that people would let her stay in bed while they came in and cleaned the room all around her. She said it was so great that if she dropped something on the floor, she didn't even have to get out of bed. There was a little buzzer. She would just push and somebody would come and retrieve whatever it was that she had dropped. And then at food time, somebody would come in with a tray, would even have a little cover over the entree, and pull out a table that has wheels and put the tray down and lift the metal covering and slide that right over to her bed. And then there are buttons on the bed that help to raise her so that she could get in a position to eat. And then when she was done eating, they even came back and took the dirty dishes away. And she had this whole story about how she imagined she was royalty in a 5-star resort, and all her needs were met. I wished I had thought of that. That's such a good one. I would say that is some kind of a superpower, to turn a challenging something into something magnificent. So the question is like, why do we use them and not use them, these superpowers? And how is it that we decide whether we're going to tap into what's possible for us or not? And it is a very personal and individualized path that we walk through our own lives. But I do think we could use more of those superpowers. And I do think it's what Sunday mornings, a spiritual message, a weekly message, or taking a class, I think it's the purpose of all of those things, to encourage us, to remind us to know that right where we are, there's a spiritual truth. No matter what it looks like, there's a spiritual truth revealing something bigger to us. Now, there's no question there are elements of life that just frighten us. I used to be afraid of lightning and thunder when I lived in Southern California, and then I moved to Arizona and fell in love with the monsoon season, and now I'm not afraid of that stuff anymore. I made peace with it. I slayed those dragons in order to be able to see the beauty and appreciate the change in the seasons. We just take life a little too seriously, and that's what Halloween is for. In my perspective, Halloween is here to tell us to lighten up, to not be afraid to look at the contrast of the dark and the light, and choose light when you want to be uplifted, when you want to feel more confident, when you want to have that peace within you. You can always choose the light, and so we can lighten up. When I was wondering what I was going to talk about and who I was going to quote while I was standing looking like a pirate in front of all of you, I thought of Phineas Parkhurst Quimby, and I did a little research. Whew, it's tricky getting that Quimby book out of that room that's stuffed full of other things now. Whew, but I did it. I found that Quimby book. And I love Quimby because Quimby lived he was born in the early 1800s, and Quimby is considered, sometimes we talk about him being the grandfather of mental healing, right? Of understanding that body-mind connection and using spiritual ideas to help people heal. And so he is a great contributor to what he called mental science or mental healing. And I think it's helpful always for us to remember that the mind and the body desire to work together, and that we have our best experience of well-being and prosperity when we do that, when we integrate when we pull it all together. So Quimby had this theory that human misery is sort of this universal error in the way that we think. And that the truth is, at one time or another, each and every one of us will have experiences where we misinterpret what we think we're looking at. It happens in relationships. Right, honey? It happens in relationships where he hears one thing and I hear something else, or he's talking about this and I'm talking about that, and we think we're talking about the same thing, and it ends up being a disconnect instead of a connection. So we're always looking for clarity in communication. That's a really valuable tool. But Quimby had this great way that he spoke about that misinterpretation that can happen. And these are the words of Quimby from that book I found in that messy room. I had to climb on furniture and over boxes. I had to really want that book. Quimby said, "We place fear in evil ideas that we have believed are true." Ooh, think about all the ways we can apply that right now. We place fear in evil ideas or dark ideas that we believe to be true. And this is a great error, for we never actually see what we think we see. Therefore, here it is. Our belief is our heaven, or it is our hell. And right now, people are pretty divided, and I don't see very many of them that look like they're very heavenly. Everybody's frustrated and scared and angry, and it will all pass. I also was thinking, isn't this an interesting thought? I wonder who decided that the big elections would come right after Halloween. I just think it's so perfect that we get to look at the dark side when we have a lot of dark opinions around politics, no matter what you believe in. I know you think yours are not dark, but somebody else thinks they're dark. You know, it's guaranteed. We're pretty evenly split, it seems. So what Quimby is saying here is what we know from brain science now. It's that we understand this. We've done the studies. The brain filters out everything. And the job of your brain, it's filtering out. You're not seeing, we never see everything that's going on all at the same time. It's why I was in a car full of ministers once, and there was a fender bender that we were involved in on the freeway. We were in St. Louis or somewhere. And every minister had a different idea of what happened. We didn't even agree on the color of the car. It was so amazing, you know. It's like it was just right in my face, for the face of all of us, actually. So your brain works that way, that you can't take in all the information all the time, so your brain is filtering out. But what we know now, because of neuroplasticity, is that the brain's job is to filter out your stuff based on what you believe. So your brain, not your mind, but your brain's job is to validate to you everything you already believe. It's an internal algorithm. I watched a thing on algorithms during lockdown when we all had a little more time. I watched a thing on algorithms, and I always thought, oh, bad. Oh, they make us buy things and believe things. Oh, algorithms are not bad. They're not good or bad. They're just filters that are designed to please you, to give you what you already like. And yes, marketers use them in order to try and influence us to purchase product and all of that stuff. But I like to think of the brain as the biggest algorithm of all. And the only person that can manage your thoughts is you. I could do this every Sunday for 14 years. You're still not gonna believe me. You got to do it yourself. You got to do the work. You got to prove it to yourself. That's why we call it science of mind, so that you will put the scientific stuff in it and do the laboratory work to prove it to yourself. But the problem is, we now call those beliefs, we call that implicit bias. I only know this because I'm teaching practitioners. Actually, they're both here today in costume. And that was a beautiful presentation, thank you. And I'm so happy you told us that was your sister, because that was a very traumatic time and it had a very happy ending. So we're very honored to be giving that contribution in that direction this quarter. But in practitioner class, was this the one you guys struggled with? We all struggled with. There's a whole thing now on implicit bias. And all it means is implicit bias is that the way we have unconscious, this is the definition, unconscious attitudes that impact how we understand life. So my biases are different than yours, so we have different filtering systems, and we don't. That's why we don't see things the same way. And there's nothing wrong with that. The reason they look at it in practitioner licensing studies is that is then your implicit biases show up as your attitude. It shows up in the way you make decisions. It shows up in the way you interact with other people. So all of those things are really important. But the brain is always interpreting, always telling us things that may or may not be true. You know what happened in this building only a few days ago? I had just finished teaching a class, and we were out in the bookstore area. And somebody was sitting on the couch, and somebody else was sitting in a chair next to, yes, I'm telling that story. And somebody was sitting in the, you will only incriminate yourself if you say it. I'm not going to say it. And somebody was so there were only 3 of us there. Somebody on the couch, in a chair, and I now sit down. Everybody's left, and we're kind of relaxing and just, I call it debriefing. We're talking about what we're learning and what we're thinking about. And so I'm on the other side of the circle, and I notice under the couch, under the sofa, there's a bottle cap off of somebody's water bottle, and it's been there for a couple weeks, and I see it while I'm teaching, but I try not to, I try to not get so distracted I have to go pick it up while I'm doing it, which is hard when you suffer like some of us do. At any rate, so I keep seeing this, somebody's talking, and I keep seeing the bottle cap, and suddenly I look, and directly under the person sitting on the sofa, I see something looking at me. And so now it's got my attention, and I'm probably bending down. I'm not really sure, but I'm looking, and I'm thinking, what is that? And is that alive? And is it a toy? What's going on here? And so the other 2 women go, what are you looking at? One of them gets up and moves a little further away. One of them picks up her feet on the sofa, and then I duck down even further, but it was far enough back that it was in the dark. It wasn't in the light, and so we're trying to figure out, what is it? And they said, is it alive? What do you think it is? And I said, I don't know, but it looks kind of like a dead ferret or something. It's fuzzy, and it's got eyes, and it's got cute little ears, and it's got its head cocked, and it's looking at me, but it's not blinking its eyes. I don't know if it's playing possum or it's a toy. I don't know what it is, but now, and then we just started scaring each other. So somebody then stands up and I said, stomp your feet, and they all stomp. Everybody stomps their feet, including me, and it didn't move at all. And so then one brave soul says, I'm going to move the sofa, and the sofa was really pretty heavy. So then they pull the sofa out, and what we discover is it was somebody's socks that had been rolled together. And God only knows how long it had been under the couch. I probably wouldn't have ever noticed it had I not. But it had a face. And not only did it have a face and cute ears and a little nose and eyes looking at you, but they saw it too. I was not alone. So we convince each other of things that aren't even really true without even really meaning to do that. So back to Quimby. We fear things that we believe are true. And this is a great error, for what we see is never what we think we see. You're either in heaven or hell. And I like that idea when I think about how I see you, how we look at each other. What you see it's so much more. It's sort of that namaste idea, that the Christ in me, the God in me, the divine in me honors the divine in you. So we may not always see it with our eyes, but we know that it's there. So we slay our monsters, we shine light, we move the sofa, we do what we got to do to figure out what's real and what's not real, and we shed light on the thoughts in our own minds in the same way, because we have to slay the dragons of our minds first. I found this quote from a woman named Marilyn Ferguson. I have quoted her many times in the past because her name shows up in spiritual ideas, and she always has something lovely to say. She was an author, and in the mid-70s, she was writing primarily, which blows my mind, in the mid-70s, she was writing about the brain and the frontiers of mind research. And for 20 years, she had a science newsletter just on brain. I think of how people, if she were living now, how excited she would be about some of the stuff that we have validated that they were saying so long ago. So Marilyn Ferguson said this, and this really fits it together well. Fear is a question, and the question is, what are you afraid of? And why? Just as the seed of health is in the illness, because illness contains information, just like that, our fears are a treasure house of self-knowledge if we would explore them. What a powerful quote. See, she's saying something really important here. In the same way that the seed of our health and our healthy, thriving bodies is in the illness, the seed of health and well-being is in the illness. The seed of prosperity is in your financial problems. The seed is already contained there because the illness or the financial situation, because it contains information. And this is so beautifully worded when she says, in this way, our fears are a treasure house of self-knowledge if we explore them. So what scares you? What are the things that keep you awake at night? What are the ways that if you don't relate to being afraid of things, and I think for maybe a lot of men this is true, that you're just not allowed to be afraid or admit you've ever been afraid, then I would ask you to think about it this way. What kinds of things do you experience, what challenges do you meet where you feel your body tense? Or you feel your breathing is now, maybe you notice your breathing kind of shallow. Or maybe your heart is racing all of a sudden. Because all of those are indicators that your blood pressure is probably rising up as well. And we look at those things. We look at those things, we acknowledge them. We don't pretend it's not happening. We acknowledge them so that we can have use it as a tool, so we can have more information. I took a psychology class in the 1980s at a community college. And I think it was called Personal and Social Adjustment. And the final project for that class was that we were to create an experience where we faced a fear, and then we had to stand in front of the class and report on it. For some people, that would be enough, just standing in front of the class. But there was a man in our class, a young man. It was a community college, so he was 18 to 20 years old probably. And he was friends with the family that owned White's Mortuary in Azusa, California. And he arranged to lay in a coffin, to lay in a casket, and to have them close it while he was in it, and to have that experience. So, boy, I see a whole bunch of you going, I ain't going to do that, right? And then there was a woman who actually was someone I talked into taking the class with me. It was a girlfriend of mine, and she decided that one of her biggest fears was losing her vision. And so she, after work on a Friday evening, she put a blindfold on, and she wore that blindfold until Sunday night, and she did everything she would normally do on a busy weekend, including eating out, going out to dinner blindfolded. And I know that because we went to dinner with them. And yes, it was a little embarrassing. Well, why are you blindfolded? But it was a gorgeous, gorgeous experience to face your fear in that bold of a way. And I want you to think about it. This was a community college class. This is not EST. This is not Landmark. This is not a weekend retreat with Tony Robbins. This is like school. And it was this powerful experience in facing your fears because it makes such a difference in the way we then live our lives. So the message is about turning on that internal light and closely examining what's sacred and to recognize the kinds of thoughts that move around in your own mind. Arg, sometimes it's scary to do that. But this life is like earth school. You know, it's a privilege. And we get to take these lessons and we choose when and how. And we choose whether or not we do well in each lesson. Pass or fail, doesn't matter. And so it doesn't matter if it's a rodent under a sofa or a sock that's tied in a little knot. Doesn't matter if you're hoping your candidate will win the election and what will happen if that doesn't unfold in the way you want it to unfold. What we know is that we are all of us are dealing with our own inner imaginary monsters, and that fear and dread and all of those things that Holmes mentioned at the top of the message this morning, that if we slay those monsters, then we can find that inner peace again, and we can find our confidence. So Jesus miraculously cast out demons, and so do we. So do we. He said, as I do these things, so too can you. Even greater things you can do. We align ourselves to these truths in a regular way so that we can remember that right where we are, no matter how we're dressed, no matter what kind of bird has landed on you, what silly hat you're wearing, right here is God. Right here in the middle of whatever the situation is, here is God. Here is all the power for good. It is this great source of wisdom and of joy and of life and of beauty. It's the grace of God that is always streaming. So your homework for this week is to lighten up. Just lighten up. Play a little bit. Have some fun. Let in the light. Set a goal to have some fun. And I want to close this morning with a beautiful quote, a favorite quote of mine from Madame Curie, from Marie Curie, who said it best. Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. And now is the time to understand more so that we may fear less. That's what I wanted to say. Happy Halloween. Think I can pray with a parrot? Should I try? Only because I can't figure out how to take it off. Oh, so take a deep breath. Take a nice, deep, cleansing breath. And just allow yourself to close your eyes or take a soft focus on the altar behind me. And begin to notice that as the words settle around the room, that there is peace. And so we feel and sense the peace of God right here, right now, in this sacred space. So wherever you are hearing these words right now, right there with you is the fullness of God, is the unlimited force of love, because God is love. Right where you are is all the joy, is all the grace, is all the beauty. Right where you are is every superpower you will ever need. And so this day, in the humor of a holiday that invites costumes and fun, we recognize that the power of love is the greatest force in the universe, and it is the very way that we lighten our lives and thereby enlighten our minds. So I feel the love of God within me. I feel it as a movement of life. I feel it as a quickening. For I know that these holy words of prayer call forth something powerful. It is the revelation of truth itself. So something within our being is awakened, so that the cells in our body are enlivened in such a way that they remember how to function perfectly. So there's healing that is happening right now, because there's a reverberation in these powerful words that wakes up the truth within us, that we align our mind and our body into that one whole, beautiful, working mechanism, so that we ourselves can reveal this perfect order that exists in the universe. So we take the light and the dark. We take the difficult and the easy. We take our insecurities and we take our confidence, and we just jumble it up all together into the perfection that we are. And we live our lives guided by the grace of God. We can lift our heads and carry ourselves in confidence, for we know that we are created in the image and likeness of that which created us. So yes, we are creative beings, and we choose today to be playful, to be light, to be lovely, to have fun, and that we take that energy and we use it in a positive way. We attach it to our affirmative prayers. We connect it to some kind of a daily spiritual practice, so that we remember that right where we are, God is. And so I feel this transformational experience in this physical way, as well as in that emotional way, in the mental ways in which we know our relationships are healed, that the love in our hearts is radiating in every direction. And therefore, there is a vibration in this planet from this intention of spreading God's love. There is a vibration in the planet that has shifted, has risen, has changed, and we are creating a new life right now. So I am grateful for all of this and for so much more. I say thank you, God. I release these words into that divine law that receives and reminds us to be ready to receive our good. Thank you, God. I release these words and let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. Amen.
Grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have. Everywhere I look and every face I see is love reflected, shining back to me. I just give thanks for all these simple things, the joy and peace that gratitude brings. That's why I'm grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have.
All right. And now it is time to show our gratitude with our gifts, tithes, and offerings. For those of you who are watching online, we do have a donate button on our website that you can donate at any time. Those of you here in the sanctuary, we do not pass a plate in this center, but we do have offering boxes at the exits of the sanctuary, so into Papke Hall and over there by the back door, and there's also one in the bookstore. So we're going to go ahead and say our joyful giving affirmation together. I live in a consciousness of good. Divine love blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. And so it is. And don't forget to join us after service for prayer with a practitioner, and then also for refreshments in Papke Hall. And for those of you who have been notified as Gourmets for God winners, join me in the bookstore so you can make your payments.
Please rise for our last song.
And so we'll do a closing affirmation. Repeat after me. Something playful is happening in me right now.
Something playful is happening in me right now.
It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. And life is in all my experiences. I think it. I feel it. I know it, and I accept it, just the way that it is, and just the way that it is not. Arg! Thanks for being here. Remember, pray often, love much. Talk to you soon.